always forget to turn this damn thing on. It's your boy. Oh, so apparently there's this nationwide farmers' protest in Germany, which isn't Berlin the capital of the EU. I don't know. I'm a goofy American who does everything in my power not to really care about the things of other nations, but I find this completely interesting, right? Because I remember during the pandemic, like nations around the world has been doing this thing where they're inflicting self-inflicted poverty on its people. Okay, so it's like if you shut down the economy, you know, deliberately choose which companies are allowed to remain open and which aren't, depending on, I guess, how essential you are. If you literally force people to stay inside and you force measures on people, like, I don't know what you expect people to really do except have a problem with it. It's like, we people need to put food on their fucking tables somehow. And okay, I guess if you're not like Amazon, who was allowed to remain open despite working their employees like 60-hour days to the point where they couldn't even really piss, take a bathroom break or anything. But if you're the mom and pop store, nah, you get shut down. Just fuck you. At least that's how it was here in America. To my knowledge, in Europe, there's a lot of eco-friendly legislations being slapped upon people. So, for the sake of Mother Gaia, if you say drive this type of tractor or do this type of thing, you gotta pay a fine. Or if you drive this type of car, you have to pay a fine. They're effectively trying to tax you for doing what you've already done. And it gets to the point where, at least for the farmers, again, people who this is how they put food on their table, putting food on your table, right? It's like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Like, you need to lift these restrictions. We literally cannot sustainably operate under these circumstances. And again, a nation cannot exist without farmers, just like a nation cannot exist without truckers in this day and age. Like, I understand when the Canada's trucker protest, like, they tried everything in their power to suppress it. They tried shutting down their bank accounts. They tried doing this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I don't understand why you're fucking with your own people in this situation. Like, in what world do you believe this will turn out the right way? And 10 years ago, this would be unthinkable, right? Even if you don't agree with, I guess, for whatever reason, the farmers, again, for whatever reason, you at least had a deal of respect for them. Nowadays, it seems like there's literally no respect for these people whatsoever. Agricultural activist groups and farming union plans to protest locations across Germany January 26 and 28 to denounce the government agricultural policies, including plans to end tax subsidies for agricultural diesel. The protests are likely to include convoys of slow moving agricultural vehicles on rural highways and in city centers, blockades of bridges and busy intersections, and demonstrations outside government offices. The main protest day is January 26th, with demonstrations planned in multiple locations in the state of Brandenton, Mecklenburg. These names are fucking crazy. Vorpommern, Saxony, Lower Saxony, Hesse, Baden-Württemberg, and Bavaria. However, multiple demonstrations will also take place on subsequent days. And again, I'm being asked at work why do you support the former protesters, but you don't support like the ecological activists that block roads? In one, I'm biased. You know, I'm a human being and I'm allowed to have my biases because I agree with the farmers. Like, at least in this situation, it's like they're all the government's doing is taxing them for using diesel, and it's like, okay, maybe they could use other tractors, but I mean, I think the cost in having to re-innovate the entire farming industry would bankrupt them. But to be fair, I don't believe this tax was meant for the farmers. It was meant for like, I don't know, truck drivers and drivers of vehicles. But unfortunately, it peters down to truck drivers because or to the farmers and their equipment because they also use diesel. And I'm guessing they weren't really expecting this reaction from them. And two, well, if you have thousands of people, it's almost inevitable you're going to block a couple of major highways and intersections just from the sheer mass of people. But you have, like, eco activists, right? It'll be like a couple of chuckleheads standing in the middle of a highway blocking people from going to work. And it's like, okay, you're not protesting the companies that are doing the polluting. You're protesting just a random guy who's trying to get to work. You're protesting the random guy trying to drive their pet to the veterinarian. Or you're protesting the guy who worked a 20 something hour shift and now he has to stop in the middle of the damn road just because a couple of chuckleheads think Mother Gaia's dying. Or at least in this one, at least they had tried to only protest government offices and official businesses. But again, it's just the sheer mass that, again, it's inevitable that they're going to block a couple of places. So 26 Berlin, go slow, protest with multiple columns of agricultural vehicles to the party headquarters, to the government coalition, including the Social Democratic Party headquarters in Willy Berto, whatever the fuck, on, I'm not even going to try, Wilhelmstrasse, the Green headquarters in Platz, Vendum, no, whatever the fuck, for the Free Democratic Party headquarters on Rheinhardtstrasse PP from 11. So, Social Democratic Party, Free Democratic. I'm assuming these are the parties that have enacted the legislations to tax the use of oil. You know, to fill up your car with oil, they're like, nah, bad boy. And again, it's the fact that I guess if you could go to electric, but most electric vehicles are, well, personally, I think hybrids are better. Most electric vehicles, like if you want to fix an electric vehicle, it is almost impossible for you to do that yourself, and it's also almost impossible to take it to like a third party auto store. You'd have to go through the company and you have to have like a specialist come out and check something. Then you have to have like someone else, an electrician by the company, come out, and that could cost even more time and even more money out your pocket for an electric vehicle that already costs an arm and a leg, and especially in this fucking economy, an arm and a leg. So again, I just taxing the everyday man is just never something that makes sense to me. It's like, I don't know what they expect was going to happen. Then 27 Munis, whatever the fuck, the Raleigh Cathedral Square, and 28 in Munis. What time, what date is it? The 29th? Honestly, I think it should keep going because I don't think this will really. Because the reason they put these restrictions on is they know that because of the pandemic, oh wow, we actually have all this power to print money and to legislate and to shut people indoors. Well, why would we ever stop doing this? I think most governments do. It's like it is of my opinion that every government is corrupt. I mean, it's human nature, right? It's like, what is corruption? An official working in his own self interest, other than the interest of people that put him in fucking office and the people he's meant to represent. And I believe any institution, any government, any business is corrupt. But if you have a small government, you don't need to care, right? If the government's not trying to fuck with you or spy on you, you don't have to care about the corruption at all. But if it's a grande government, then you do care. Like, you have China, you have Russia, you have North Korea. Like, you have these big governments that do everything in their power to spy on their citizens, and they're not allowed to leave. And you have the social credit score in China, which is how they control their people. Again, they just do not trust their people, which boggles my mind. And I know in America, for some reason, we're trying to do this, right? We're trying to police, like, say, people's gaming consoles, hearing on what they're saying in these chats. Like, we really want to do this, but the companies are like, no, we're not going to do this, or at least at for now, they're saying no. Heightened security is likely near all demonstrations. Transport disruptions is likely to occur throughout the day in areas targeted by protesters. Road travel disruptions are possible at short notice on major highways throughout Germany and on highways entering affected cities. On protest day, as slow moving tractors make their way to rally sites, while widespread violence is not anticipated, low level scuffles between police and protesters are possible. I mean, yeah, these people are. I like to believe they're actually intelligent. Like, they know they probably shouldn't try fucking with the public. Like, their beef is with, the government buildings and these parties that are slapping taxes on them, not anybody else. Whereas with eco support, I'm trying not to call them eco terrorists, but in certain odd situations, they've legitimately did that. Right? Eco terrorism. Like, there's really no other word to describe it. But they do everything in their power to disrupt the public. It's like they want the reaction from people, just everyday people, and they don't understand that this isn't. And again, they're protesting. They're protesting things that their government already agrees with, right? Like, in this addendum, the government is literally taxing diesel. So they're trying to take away, well, not really take away, but put a tax people using diesel vehicles. So the government kind of agrees with you on this. So I don't know what the eco activists are really trying to protest. Like, I understand what the farmers are trying to protest. They make it explicitly clear what the fuck they're trying to protest. Like, they don't beat around the bush. They don't, they're not being, what's the word I'm working with? They're telling you straight up what they're trying to protest. So I guess that's all this. Again, I think this is absolutely a good thing. I don't live in the EU, but I understand things happening here in America. Like, people have the right to protest, especially even if you do not agree with it. In this case, I do. People have the ability to protest, but you need to know why, have a strict goal in mind, not have the goal so broad that people don't really understand what you're trying to do, and you need to quit protesting just the actual people, and instead protest you know the the people who are actually legit, the companies or the politicians who are actually putting the woe on you. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. See ya.